Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane, podcast Pete, and community coach. And we have a special guest in the studio today, a coach, a valuable coach, because life is a journey. You don't want to do it alone. So, Clarissa, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into our podcast.
All right. So as someone who's been in the fitness industry for years, I've motivated and inspired women and love getting them to get beyond their self-doubt, self-limiting beliefs. And now my mission is to work so that women, when that last child leaves the house, they're not feeling like they're losing themselves. And so because the house becomes quiet and the loneliness is real, that loss of identity, loss of purpose, all of those things are very real. But so is the woman on the other side of that. So what I like to do is working with women to move through that quiet and to rediscover who they are beyond the role of being a mom, and to reclaim that confidence, to find that identity of, oh yeah, and that schedule of, instead of it's always busy with what everyone else was doing, now it's waking up and going, you know what, there's things for me to do. What do I get to do next? So that is what I like to help women to, again, move beyond that role, find that confidence, and rediscover themselves and know that there's a whole nother side to this journey.
Yes, there is. So I believe in this principle, like we have one body, and if we don't take care of it, it's not going to take care of us. So how did fitness prepare you for being an empty nester coach?
So because of the transformations that you see, fitness, just like with this transition with empty nester, it's a mindset. So, it all starts here. And that's the difference of just having the belief of, walking. So like for the gym, I always say that the heaviest weight is that front door, like that saying goes. And same thing with like empty nester is that most challenging thing is taking the steps, like moving forward into things. So with fitness, I love having, people that come in all different levels. So there might be somebody that is, they've been an athlete and maybe they've had a baby and they're, they've taken a step away, but yet they don't have that belief because they're like, they know they could do it, but where can I get to now? So just like with an empty nester of, all right, I was this mom, this was my role, and this is what I've done for like decades. And now what? Now what am I doing and who am I becoming? And it's just, again, having that belief, taking that action, taking that first step. So it's all about transformation and, again, believing in yourself, because that mindset is everything, because our brain it's wired to find problems. So if it's a problem in the gym of, oh, I'm not strong enough, I'm not fit enough, I've got a knee injury, there's always things. Or with that empty nester of, here, I've raised my kids, I knew what to do, I wore all the hats, but now I don't really know what the next step is. So again, that transformation, that mindset of just saying what needs to happen next, because the brain's going to look for the problems. So people always say, like, oh, I'm an overthinker. Well, the brain's supposed to think. We just need to decide, help it find its way of what problem does it need to solve? Like, what's my next step? Instead of the kids are gone and now I have nothing, or I've gotten fitness wise, I've gotten so far out of shape, because people will say that all the time. I'm just so weak or I'm out of shape, instead of I'm here, I'm taking the steps to move forward to get myself healthy again. So that's kind of.
What do you think when you mentioned mindset? I totally agree. I had a stroke for a little over 4 years ago, and I gave up social media, gave up sugar, gave up alcohol. I gave up all the things that I needed to repair my mindset. Started meditating, started journaling, and everything started to compound as far as the mindset. So when you look at mindset and all the distractions out there, how does Clarissa stay focused and keep her mind sharp and moving forward?
I start with, it's the way I start my day.
Mhm.
So having a morning routine of, even the days that I have to be to work at 5, I would get up at 4 o'clock, because that's how I needed to ground myself. Of, like you're talking about social media, no social media first thing, because as soon as I do that, somebody else is starting my day. I'm not
Mhm.
starting my day. And so having that control, and then I am definitely faith-based. So I start off with some reflection of the day before. I
Mhm.
have a prayer process that I go through, and a gratitude journal. So every
Mhm.
morning, making sure that I'm writing in at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And so then throughout the day, just to stay focused, because again, with our minds, we can't control the first thought, but we can control the second. So
Mhm.
something comes in, and then a lot of times I find I need to reframe that thought, and I need to change it, because just because it came into my mind doesn't mean it's true.
Mhm.
So I can reframe that and kind of ground myself in that sense. And again, with my prayer life, like sometimes, I'll find I'm feeling something, and I might walk by someone and I'm like, you know what? God wants me to pray for that person.
Mhm.
So my prayer life is something that's important to me as well.
Mm, I love that. What do you think when, let's go from being an empty nester, that first like 3, 4, 5 months, it is kind of a rocky one because you're right about the quietness. All of a sudden, noise keeps us busy, but it
Mhm.
also can keep us from getting to know ourselves and really getting in touch with our prayer life, our spiritual life, our self, our growing self. I went to my family reunion, not family reunion, high school reunion. It was 50. And people said, "Well, Pete, when are you retiring?" I said, "Never."
I
Because
love that.
once you quit and stop moving, stop growing, you just decline. So tell us about when that first few months when you're working with clients, what's that process like? What are you trying to achieve early on? Because we want momentum, we want accountability, we want that correct mindset. But how are you helping that person transition?
So we start again with, I'll say it again. I always start with the mindset,
Hmm.
and it's learning to look at, like your situation of, I can use one with fitness. It's always easy. So I call them manifestation loops. It's the cognitive behavioral theory.
Hmm.
So you've got your thoughts. So if that thought is for someone that's trying to, lose weight, they're like, oh, well, I've done this before. I never succeed. I
Hmm.
start and then I don't follow through. Well, that's your thought. Then how do you feel about that? Well, you feel disappointed, and you feel frustrated, you feel, angry. And then what's your action? Probably nothing, or go have something to eat. Versus you change that thought of, I'm starting and I'm going to be successful one step at a time. Then your feeling might be more, I'm empowered, I'm excited and hopeful. And then you go to, all right, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to make a healthy dinner, make a healthy choice. So same thing with that empty nester of, It's like you can have that thought of this is the worst time of my life. I
Mm-hmm.
am so upset. And then you go to the thought of, okay, now I'm depressed, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed, all these things. And then action could be you're just sitting on the couch crying
Mm-hmm.
versus this is a new start I'm starting a new chapter
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a lot of opportunities. Then the feeling is I'm kind of excited. I get enthusiastic and hopeful. And then you're likely to go, maybe start playing pickleball or doing some gardening. So
Mm-hmm.
I started out with, with that mindset. And then we kind of, we do talk about the fact of it's grief. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's the loneliness, there's the grief of losing that role, losing that you feel like you're losing your
Mm-hmm.
kids. You're not. You've actually done what you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But then so we kind of go through that and we talk about purpose. All right, what is your purpose now? And what lights your soul on fire? What is something that, like, these are things that I haven't done. And maybe it's something that you did in the past, or maybe it's something brand new. And then you build that excitement and you start filling your calendar, like I said, with things that are for you.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of taking them through that journey. And a lot of times there's relationship issues. So maybe with a spouse, if you were good about staying, dating and whatever, sometimes it's like more excitement and you're spending more time together. But then sometimes you've grown apart because you've
Mm-hmm.
just like gone through the motions of we're busy with everyone else. We didn't make time for ourselves. So then you end up, working on that. So there's a lot of, and it depends where people are at. Sometimes they're ready to start a health journey.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I can help with that as well, because they're like, I haven't taken care of myself for all these years. Or now I want to, I want to try one of those Tough Mudder races. And, you get excited about something like that. So it kind of will depend on where people are
Mm-hmm.
and what they need more with. But those are some of and we do like confidence and those kind of things too.
I have a friend, and I'm in Rotary down here in Atlanta, and I have a person. Was on my podcast, and she has 3 coaches. So, and then we got to talking this past weekend. We were at a conference, and personal growth is a thing that's really important because we want to keep growing. But there's a small percentage of people that really focus on that mindset, that growth. Why do you think people are so hesitant to really work on that mindset and grow personally?
I think because it can be scary.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you really start to uncover how you think about things, that maybe it's going to bring some things up, and it could go back to childhood of how you were raised and maybe some things that you were told as a child, or, through different relationships, through school, through coaches, anything, that sometimes people are like resistant
Mm-hmm.
because they're not sure what it could bring up. Or another thing is change.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we don't like change,
Mm-hmm.
but then it is something new. And we all know you got to go through the more challenging things, because how many of us have lived life and you're like, oh yeah, when everything was great, that's when I learned something. Not usually. It's
Yeah.
usually you look back to the challenges. I mean, I can look back to the challenges and go, would not want to go through those again, but I also wouldn't change them because I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be the way I am today because of them.
That is so good. I had a gentleman a couple of years ago on the podcast, and he was saying like PTSD. We were familiar with that, and he grew up at age 5 in a concentration camp in Russia. So not your typical pre-K, start. But he said this, he goes, PTSG, substitute the D for G, growth. And he talked about that trauma, that dramatic things that happened in his life helped him to grow. Have you had a time in your life that you went through that tough phase, that really difficult phase, and when you all of a sudden you mentioned, like, when you're looking back, you don't want to go through it, but you grew so much as a result of it. Do you have anything you could share with us that helped you grow through a tough time?
Yeah, I have. I guess the two of the major things for me is in college, I was hit by a car when I was running. And then my family, we went through Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that with Hurricane Katrina, because I was an adult, I was a mom. And that is something I would not want to ever go through again. But it definitely did prove, I proved to myself how strong I was, just through from, the beginning, from the evacuation process all the way through to, a year later when we finally moved back and we still didn't have countertops or, the kitchen sink or all of these things. And I had to be strong at the time I had 2 kids. And then that year I also got pregnant. So I was going through pregnancy while dealing with all of the issues of, the first time just going back to the house and seeing at the time, my daughter's room, she was still in the crib then. And, like all the insulation is in her crib and all over. I mean, there's, my dad and I spent 3 14-hour days going through to clean everything out because of the mold. And I mean, it was just a nightmare having to deal with that. And then having to deal with the insurance and fighting for us, whereas my neighbors had a different insurance company and they came through and just cut a check. I was like on the phone for 4 months, just trying to do that. In the meantime, I'm pregnant. I've got 2 kids, but yet also at that time was a blessing that I never would have had because we, lived in New Orleans. I'm from Upper Michigan. So for that year, my kids and I lived by my family for the first time. So my parents had a chance to really get to know my kids that year, and we got to do dinners, and my dad could take my son to hockey. And so, I mean, there were blessings. There's always blessings within if we can see them.
Yeah, that's so good. What do you think we have a lot of distractions out there? We talked about the mindset. I think the number is we have between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts that go through our head. And then we make over 500 decisions every day. How do you stay focused to not have the noise distract you?
I take time for, before I'm going to do some work and stuff like that, like I'll take time for just a quick 5-minute meditation, just to kind of quiet the noise and to focus on my breathing. Because, we tell kids when they're little, just take a deep breath, and really didn't think much about it. And I'm like, it really does work.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's amazing how something so simple that's been around forever really works. So, I mean, even that, sometimes I'll find myself, because I'm one of those people that I'm not late, but I'm close to it because I'm going to do 15 things before I leave to make sure I get as much done. But I'll find myself, I mean, because there's a thing of, it's like you can be addicted to that chaos, that adrenaline rush.
Right.
Our body gets that way. So I'll find myself having to go, okay, you can still get some things done, but slow your breathing. Just take a minute. You're still going to get there in the same amount of time, maybe do one less thing. So I've really started to do that a lot more, just simply with that. And then doing some journaling and that kind of thing helps quiet my mind too.
Yeah, I used to run and I used to play golf, and I don't do either, but I used podcasting and journaling as my two kind of replacements for that. I probably didn't do one journal in my 64 years, but I'm probably over 20 now because
Yeah.
that's my go-to way of
Mhm.
just kind of getting to know my thoughts, keeping them focused, keeping just it's therapy for me. You hear AI, and I heard this the other day. Oh, you can get an AI coach, and like, how is AI affecting your business? And what do you say to the person that there's plenty of information out there, you can get everything you need online, but what are the advantages of working with Clarissa and an actual physical coach?
Well, I mean, you can do AI and you can find, I mean, anything, everything, right?
Mhm.
But you don't have that personal connection, which I mean, you think of how we were with COVID. There's no, you don't have that interaction. Even if it is online, it's still a person.
Mhm.
So for me, being able to give feedback to someone and to know that, oh, this was going on in their life and that was last week. And I can tell by, if somebody starts talking really fast and then they start leaning in, like I can tell that there's a change in what they're talking about
Mhm.
versus AI is not going to pick that up.
Right.
It's going to be, okay, I can read body language and there's more emotion. I mean, there's going to be the facts with AI, and
Mhm.
you can get, like I said, I mean, we all know you can get pretty much anything, right?
Mhm.
But you don't get that human interaction, that understanding of emotion, body language, the accountability. So, I mean, you can set a timer for something, but yet to know someone's actually checking in on you, thinking about you versus this is just a timer. There's a difference, I think, with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. How are you using AI with your business? The light bulb went off for me because my partner does AI more than most, and he kept after me for years. Like the last, he said, "How are you using it?" I said, "I don't have time for that stuff." This was early on, and then I did a course and I put the framework together, and I was like, "What?" I mean, and I put the human touch to it, and we always
Right.
say HI will trump AI any day. How are you using it to help you add value to your community and clients?
So for me, it would be like if I'm going to sometimes with an email. So if I want to get an email out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk into it. This is my program. This is my person. I want to say this, 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 and then just polish it so it sounds better. Then I can save the time of I can use AI to make this. I'm still the one that is creating it and giving the information, but just make me sound a little smarter with that writing.
Yeah.
So that's one simple way because then I can spend more time of, okay, I'm working on the program, I'm working with my clients
Mhm.
versus having to use all of this time of, well, I don't like how that sounds. Let me think about it. You know what I mean? So I'm still getting the same message across and it's
Right.
still for me. So that's one way I do.
Ooh, that's so good. What do you think when it I I heard this, I think it was Tony Robbins years ago. It's the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. So how do you lean into relationships to grow, Clarissa?
I lean in. I do a lot actually with my kids now that my one's almost 20. So
Mm.
20, 23, and the other one's going to be 26 this month. Crazy. But like with them, I will challenge them. And, yesterday I sent one of my kids, I said, okay, I send them good morning texts and I said, good morning, do something different today. And it's
Mm.
like, okay, challenge accepted. And I'd asked them, a few people around me, and I said, okay, now if you tell me I need to do 10 things better, I'm not likely to jump into that. But I asked like 4 people. I was like, okay, because maybe not all of them are going to respond with something. I gave each of them something. I had prayed, and it was like, all right, this was on my heart. I want you to, I told my youngest, I said, lean in and finish strong for the end of your freshman year. And just a little bit of the challenge. And I'm like, okay, now what's something I can do better? And he gave me some great advice. And it was like, you know what, Mom? He's like, don't get too high, don't get too low. So with the emotions, and that was perfect for me. I mean, because I was like,
I
yeah,
love that.
a great. So, I mean, just little things like that.
Yeah.
And then, like today yesterday, I was training. And at the end of camp, I would just say, I was like, all right, you never know, something everybody's heard, but just that reminder of you never know what somebody's going through. Because I had somebody in the morning that was like, it wasn't a great Mother's Day. And I was like, oh, and then she proceeded to tell me what happened. I'm like, wow, somebody that's usually real upbeat, but you just don't ever know what somebody's going through. So trying to pour into other people, and then also asking them, what's something you think I could do better?
I love that. What do you think when it comes to community and, isolation, loneliness is a big issue out there because social media is not really social, it's media. So how do you thrive in community in your area and other areas too?
Just trying to give back, as far as like we have in our community, it's called Susanna's House. So women that are addicted, and there's somewhere for them to go with their babies. Sometimes the kids have been taken from them, but just pouring back into that. Like I've gone there and done some fitness, just giving them, what did we talk about? We did some nutrition information, and then we also just did like a super basic workout of what could they do with their kids to get moving and to have fun and to be healthier and that kind of thing. So just kind of pouring back into that. And then we have our community, I train at Burn Boot Camp. It's a franchise. And I train at our location, and we do things there together. Like this last weekend, we all got together and had a picnic. And so people from all different times, they go to different camps, they all came together. And so just getting people, to be together. And then like when I am training, I have somebody new, I try to make a point of introducing them to someone new, because our community is very welcoming. And so that usually, that person that's by themselves or new, they feel more welcome.
I love that. If you had to give one piece of advice to a 20-year-old Clarissa, knowing what you've learned, what would you tell that person?
20-year-old Carissa, I would tell her to not worry about what anybody else thinks, and just go after your dream. Because I wanted to go into fitness back then, and instead I went into education because I was told I'd never get a job. And because of fitness, it's leading me to where I am now. So I would say to just follow your dreams, take the risk, and go for it.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So we know the advantages of mentors and coaches. Is there a person that came alongside of you early in your journey that you recognize now as that was a valuable time to have that mentor, to have that coach that kind of spurred you forward and upward?
Yes, I had somebody that it was basically like when I went to therapy, And I had somebody that really opened my eyes to how I was showing up in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and called me out and said, you're playing the victim.
Mm.
And I was actually angry because I was like, no, I'm not. But come to find out, when I left, that really got me thinking
Mm-hmm.
of, okay, why am I always saying, of course this happens to me, or just my luck?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of those things happen to other people as well. So that really woke me up to the fact of, let's shift our thinking. And that was probably about 12 or 13 years ago that I kind of had this awakening of, let's change how we think.
Mm-hmm.
And due to that, over the years, I really strived for personal growth, and I'm always looking for that,
Mm-hmm.
how to be just a little better every day.
Ooh,
So
that
yeah,
is
that was
so.
definitely spurred
I
me on.
heard somebody was sharing, like, and I don't know what the numbers were, but as kids, we were always asking why? And then
Mhm.
as we get older, we stop asking why. We stop that curiosity journey. How do you keep yourself curious?
By always looking to, like, what's out there that can make me be just a little better mom, a little better coach, a little better trainer.
Mhm.
So I look for, I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I'm, the things I follow on social media, I'm like, oh, well, how can I be better at this? How can I be a little bit, what's something different for my health journey? Something simple like, okay, instead of drinking my coffee first thing, oh, okay, I started drinking a glass of water first thing. Just those little changes
Yeah.
of how to be a little better.
Yes. The numbers are like, we watch in America, we watch like 4 hours of TV and scroll like 2.5 hours of, say, TikTok videos. So we're constantly consuming
Mhm.
versus creating. How do you keep that balance? Because it's real easy to kind of fall into the consumption mindset. How do you keep Clarissa creating?
A lot of it is with my coaching,
Hmm.
because I'm constantly trying to go, okay, I want to do something that, can touch different lives. And there could be, someone that's in, like, say for, like when you go to the fitness or whatever, somebody that is, they're just starting out
Hmm.
versus somebody that is already in,
Hmm.
like, so how can I create a better program? And I do like some one-on-one training as well.
Hmm.
Okay, I want to get creative with the workout to make sure that, okay, we're touching on different things, but then maybe we're incorporating more with like breath work and those kinds of things as well. Um, and just journaling
Yeah.
is something that helps me create, because I do think I have like a separate journal that I'm like different things throughout my journey of, who knows, maybe someday I'll write a book. I'm going
Mhm.
to just keep these things here because maybe that is something I will create.
Yes, that's so good. I want to be respectful of your time. So I have one question, then I'll ask you to give us your information. But what is Clarissa most excited about in the future?
I'm excited about helping more women to really lean into their future and to just be excited that there's a whole world out there. Like,
Mm.
what kinds of things? I mean, I went with a friend. She messaged me and there was a salsa dancing. Like, okay, why not? Let's do something different. And
Yes.
I'm going on a trip next week, and I've been doing a scuba certification. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm just excited to do that and to have other women go, wow, like,
Yeah.
look, I mean, because I follow this woman that's like in her 70s and, she's doing all these fun things. And the fact that there are all these opportunities if you lean into it. So
Yes.
the biggest thing is taking action.
Mm. Ooh, I love that. So tell our viewers how they can get a hold of Carissa. And we'll put some in the show notes, but if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Okay, so I have a website. It's going to be through Paperbell, so it's paperbell.me/Carissa-Mahoney-1. So we can put
Mhm.
that in,
Okay.
and then my Instagram is just Carissa345,
Mm.
and I do have a Facebook page for my business, but I've chosen not to use it. I know people are viewing that. I've just said to go to my Carissa and Jara Mahoney. That's
Yeah.
all that is.
Oh, that's okay. We'll make sure. I want our viewers out there, share this with people. If you know people are going through the empty nester phase, you don't want to do it alone. You want to do it with somebody that can help you navigate through that maze. So share that with them. What would you say is the one thing that you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
I would say to imagine the future you want,
Hmm.
because we think about all the negative of what it is, and we actually think about what we don't want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to imagine what the future, what that possibility is, and what you want it to be.
That is so good. Clarissa, thank you so much for taking the time to be with our community, be with our viewers. We really appreciate the journey on. Thanks for the impact you're making in the lives through coming alongside you, because empty nester is a challenging time for people, and
It
they don't
is.
want to do it alone. They want to be excited about the new chapter, the new journey. So thank you so much, Clarissa, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.